Going live. I'm getting calls. Okay. It looks like we're live. Hey, friends. Welcome back to Hamco's Roundabout. Adam's giving me the thumbs up, so it must mean that we are live. I'm Cameron Geesaman, your local real estate agent in Hamilton County. I'm going to call myself the Hamilton County Hype Girl because I love Hamilton County. So on today's episode, you'll get your weekly dose of kind of what the heck is going on in Hamilton County. Things like Westfield just became a golf cart central, or Westfield became golf cart central. Can't even think today. Fisher's launched a free outdoor gym, and then Carmel's getting a bougie kind of seafood vibe. Going to talk about that. On the other side of things, kind of as a surprise, and I didn't even realize this, but Indiana's zip codes might, or your Indiana zip code. I can't think today, you guys. I'm fumbling all over the place. Your zip code essentially might not be yours much longer because they're going to be changing some things. So we're going to talk about that. Before we dive in, of course, as always, I want to know where you are joining from, and then comment below when school starts for your kiddos. If you're here local, then we're kind of dealing with school starting back here. Like some are starting next week. One started last week. One is starting in a couple weeks. So I'm curious when your kids are starting. I'm kind of excited because I'm ready to get back to the normal everyday life. Summer has been crazy. And although I love summer, we're always dealing with all the kid stuff. So it'll be nice just to kind of get into the swing of our daily lives. So super excited. But let's jump in. First topic for today is the golf carts in or that are going to be in Westfield. So they took it to the board, pretty much said, yes, golf carts are going to be allowed in Westfield. Now, around on the streets, people are excited, it sounds like, but some people are concerned. I keep hearing, how is that going to affect the Monon? Are people going to get run over? All of that. Well, I wanted to kind of get down to the nitty gritty to determine exactly what the ordinance is and what are the rules. So let me switch over here so that we can get kind of a good idea of what's happening here. So as you can see, you can have a golf cart. It was approved. It was first passed. The city's golf cart ordinance was first passed in 2018, but the change means street legal golf carts driven by licensed drivers can be driven on city-funded trails greater than 5 feet wide, excluding, so let's see that, excluding the Monon Trail. So for all of you out there that thought that golf carts were going to be on the Monon, false news. You cannot drive your golf cart on the Monon or the Ace of Bales Trail, Natalie Wheeler Trail, and in city-owned parks. So there you go. I like that they excluded some of those because those are high-trafficked areas for a lot of people. They go and visit, and I did have that kind of mindset of like, oh gosh, I'm going to be walking on the Monon and here comes a golf cart. Not really what I wanted because I kind of like the trail feel, all the trees, everything. So, and you can't exceed a speed not to exceed 15 miles per hour. So the ordinance expands use on the Midland Trail Trace Trail from Grand Junction Plaza east to Gray Road, and then golf carts will not be permitted on the Midland Trail Trace west of US 31. Golf carts remain legal on surface streets while the speed limit is 25 miles per hour or less. So then I went to the city's website because ultimately that's really where they're going to tell us exactly what's going on. So this is Westfield's website, and it goes through kind of the rules. So golf carts shall be equipped with headlights, tail lights, and turn signals. Operators of golf carts within the corporate limits must be at least 16 years of age, possess a valid driver's license, and be insured by liability insurance in an amount not less than the minimum the state of Indiana requires for automobiles. So I kind of like this because I think so many people think that just people are going to be out there riding riding their golf carts and doing all these things, and it's not going to be good. So I think ultimately, with setting some rules and some guidelines are going to be really good. And to know that the people who own the golf carts, that they have to get extra insurance. And so if you are a golf cart owner, make sure that you go and add that to your insurance, because it's not going to look good it's not that it's not going to look good. It's not going to be good if you get pulled over. Operators of golf carts within the corporate limit shall obey. Sorry, I already read that. No, I didn't. Corporate limits shall obey all Indiana traffic laws, yield the right of way to all pedestrians and bicycles. And then golf carts are only permitted to operate on roadways with a speed limit of 25. We kind of mentioned that in the other one. The ordinance does not allow the operation of or include ATVs, which I think is a huge thing, utility vehicles, segways, scooters, modified golf carts, or any other motorized vehicles. So I really liked that. I also like that. So this kind of goes into where you have to have your golf cart inspected by the city too. And so they kind of go through what the rules are again. And or you have to take it to get it inspected. So this is the website. You can actually go there. Golf cart inspections is where I ended up. And then it kind of tells you. So golf cart registration and expirations are not currently being enforced as we work on updating the ordinance and registration process and permits. Of course, feel free to reach out to them. So I think that's what's really nice is they're going to have where you can, apply, have it inspected, all that. So really, really excited about that. So that kind of clears up that it's not just a rogue system where like you are just going to see a bunch of essentially a bunch of golf carts just driving around Westfield or on the Monon. That was probably my biggest. I'm like, the Monon, that's just like a lot of residents. I was worried because if they did do that, then my fear is that the Monon would turn into a golf cart trail. And so excited that they eliminated that. So there you go. I think that's going to be good for the city. I think, we don't really have a golf cart community. So to be able to drive your golf cart, especially around Chatham, that's going to be really cool because you can, again, 25 miles per hour driving down the road. I'm sure people are going to get annoyed when they're driving behind and they have somewhere to be and you get stuck behind a 25 mile per hour. It fits for being a Hoosier because you usually are driving behind a tractor that's going to farm their land. Anyways, so there you go. Next up in our topics for today is Fishers gets an outdoor fitness court, which is really cool. It's at Brook School Park. And so this is, again, if you go to Fishers Parks, which I love Fishers Parks, they do a phenomenal job of really bringing a lot to the city and having lots of activities for families or kids or anybody that's into fitness. You don't even have to have a family, but it's really cool. So there's a picture here. I don't think I can enlarge it, but it is an open air gym. It's free, fully accessible, and built for every fitness level. It's just 7 minutes, you can power through a full body circuit across 7 stations. Whether you're easing into wellness, cross training, all of that, like this is just a really great spots. They also are going to have classes, which I think is really great. If you aren't the type of person where you're like, I'm not going to go and just work out myself, they're going to have classes. So you can see here on their website that they've got body balance, which is going to be every Wednesday. They've got high fitness, which is every Tuesday for the months, of course, that I'm assuming they're weather permitting with those dates. Here's a couple of pictures of where you've got the pull-ups you can do. It's pretty much body weight. Like I think of it this way as like, it is pretty much for anything that you're going to be doing that is more body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, but you've got a designated area. Plus, I think for people who are moving here that don't know anybody, maybe they're into fitness, this is a great spot to go and maybe meet other people that are into fitness. And it's all ages. So, you know, if you do have kids, take the kids there. They can maybe meet some friends that are into that. I think it's really, so they, in one of the articles I read, it's really just trying to bring that fitness aspect to the city in multiple different ways, right? We've got trails, we've got parks, we've got hills that you can walk up. Yes, I emphasize hills. They're not mountains, but the fitness court is, here it is. Each of the 7 stations can be used for hundreds of exercises, variations, providing opportunities for those beginning their fitness journey to elite athletes and for every user in between. And then they also, what I really loved is they brought in the workout library. So you can search the full content library before or during your visit to choose from several pre-created workouts, challenges, and equipment use breakdowns. So there's HIIT, there's total body training, 50 plus mobility, which is really great. I started doing some mobility training because I fell and I realized because I'm 5'11", I feel like I'm going to fall and hit my head. And so that was really great. It taught me that I need to get better at learning how to fall so that I don't break a hip, because I feel like everybody always like break a hip and you're down forever. So yeah, so I was really excited about Fisher's bringing that to our city and having just options, essentially. A light just turned on in my office. That's fun. Okay, next up is a seafood restaurant that is coming to Carmel. That's kind of that bougie aspect. But one of the reasons I wanted to bring you to this specific article is because I love, while I talk for a little bit, I love the transition between 1984 and 2020 to be able to kind of see how this is all farmland right here. But then when I hit play, all of this turns it, like you can see all the like the neighborhoods that pop up. Isn't that wild? It's just so neat to kind of watch. Anyways, it's a Google Earth time lapse. Anyways, I digress. Not that you really care about that. But a seafood restaurant with 3 locations already open throughout central Indiana is expanding in Carmel. Slapfish will open a new 3,300 square foot restaurant with an enclosed patio at the Market District grocery store off of North Illinois Street. The restaurant will open later this year. Restaurateurs Mark and Lauren Weghorst, I'm sure I'm butchering that last name, plan to start renovating the space this summer, according to a news release. So this is a little bit older, but Slapfish is an amazing restaurant. I like that they actually try to source better fish than just a Long John Silver's that's all farm fresh, farm raised, not farm fresh, farm raised. I'm an advocate for buying, fresh caught or flash frozen fresh caught food. Anyways, Slapfish is known for its boat to plate seafood dishes, including the lobster roll and blackened grouper sandwich. So anyways, super excited about that. I love seeing, it's a fast casual, so that's kind of nice. So Carmel has kind of like your bougie restaurants and then your fast food. I am loving the fast casual because sometimes I don't want to go sit in a restaurant, but I want better food than what a fast food restaurant is. And so I'm excited. And Slapfish hasn't been close by. So, and I want to drive downtown to get it. So super excited about this. And or just excited about new restaurants that hit our local scene. So there you go. Slapfish. Okay. Next topic is the one that's probably the biggest topic that I am not sure I have all of my information on as to the ramifications. I'm trying to kind of dig into it. I have my opinions of it, which I'm going to tell you here, but apparently there's a new bill that has been sent for new zip codes in specific cities. So, a bill directing the United States Postal Service to designate single unique zip codes to 66 communities across the nation, including Carmel, Westfield, Noblesville, and Zionsville, was recently introduced to the U.S. House of Representatives. It kind of goes on to say like what it is and all of that. But Carmel has 6 zip codes, Westfield has 7, and Noblesville has 3. I am always curious as to why they throw some of the cities in, but then don't address the others, because Fishers isn't on here. But then they threw Zionsville, although Zionsville has 1 zip code. Some parcels in rural areas have a different zip code from the rest of the town. And so the mayor thinks that this is very important, which I don't disagree. When you go to start looking at houses, or if you're, in the area, let's say you're not from here, you come and you're looking for houses. And if you get us as realtors, Adam and I, my husband and I, then we search by school district. The reason we do that is because a lot of times when clients come to us, they want to know what the school district is. They're not sometimes as concerned about the zip code or the city. They want to make sure that no matter what house they purchase in a specific area is going to a specific school. The reason we do that is because, and this is what this is hopefully going to try to fix potentially, is let's use Carmel as an example. If you buy a house in what you think is a Carmel school district, you might have an Indianapolis zip code. And so that's where it can get really confusing for people. And I think they're trying to kind of fix this. So, and it kind of says here, we have people who live in Zionsville, but they have a Brownsburg address, or they have a Lebanon or Whitestown address. So that's what this would eliminate. Essentially, it would make it where if you live, if you are in Zionsville, and they don't really go into this, right? Because it's kind of confusing. But if they live in Zionsville, but have a different zip code, that can get really confusing. So they're just trying to make it better for, it also depends on what postal service, right, that you have coming to your house, because it might be in Indianapolis or Brownsburg, but you're in Zionsville, so you're not using Zionsville postal service. So the legislation will eliminate long-standing address confusion for businesses, residents, and newcomers by saving time, reducing errors, and improving local services. So it sounds like it's really great. I don't know all of the ramifications. In my head, it makes complete sense. I don't know why it ever was different or what has changed. But I think that if you live in one city, you should have that city's zip code. So this is where it goes into the people purchase homes with Carmel addresses, assuming they're within the Carmel city limits and school district, only to later learn that's not the case. And so Finkham supports an effort to establish a single zip code that reflects our true community boundaries, protects families from this kind of confusion, and fosters one identity. So I've always wondered, and I don't know, I didn't kind of dig into it to kind of know what was the purpose or why it's been so confusing, but it's always confusing. So if you're not going to use us as realtors, just make sure that when you talk with your agent, I do recommend that you say, hey, can you search by school district if that is important? Another reason why I think school district is important is because of resale value, right? Because there are parts of areas that are not in as strong of an area from a resale value purpose. And so we talk about resale with all of our clients quite heavily. And I talk about, okay, so if you buy this house, when we go to sell, here's some advantages, because it's a huge investment. Like, it's probably one of the biggest investments that you'll ever make. And so we want to make sure that we're kind of going through all those details with you. So your zip code might be changing. I'm going to see how that would be weird for some people. Like, oh my gosh, like our address and your address. Like for us, my zip code is out there as a business, right? And so if that changes, you've got to go into all of your, this is the business person to me. I've got to change all of my pages and all of my things to make sure the zip code is correct. Anyways. Oh, it's like Y2K when we thought everything was going to shut down. It's like your zip code's going to change. Everything's going to shut down because it's not the right spot. Anyways, or the right zip code. I digress. I know you guys are probably like, Cameron, get on with it. Okay. I'm going to kind of shift to now the kind of second part. That was kind of all the like fun stuff. And now we kind of talk about the market, what's happening. Of course, before I would say this is a break, it's not really a break. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments because we want to answer your questions. And a lot of times people have questions that have watched the video after the fact that aren't live per se. Let me know in the comments if you want me kind of to address those live versus replying to you in the comments in YouTube. Because and maybe we'll just do a whole episode of like answering our clients' questions. Anyways, so to kind of shift gears, now we're going to talk about how the market's doing, how things are moving, and kind of what's happening here locally. Because I think there are some clients that are really concerned about that, especially local clients. I know that this is all stuff I get really excited about. But currently, right now, the new home applications in central Indiana show an April surge. So, I mean, this was written in May. We're now August, but it's still prevalent, right? Because we're usually behind a little bit. But so it kind of talks about new home applications in central Indiana rose 30% year over year in April, and Hamilton County essentially is still leading the pack in new construction, which is great news. But builders, because they have more inventory and there's more permits being pulled, that also means that what we're finding is there's still a lot of homes that are sometimes sitting a little bit longer. And so builders are now offering incentives, especially with like interest rates. So I'm going to go tour a house here either today or tomorrow, and they are offering like a 2-1 buy down where the interest rate starts. I wrote it down. Where is it? I'm going to look at my notes, my little Post-it notes. So it starts at like a 3.875, and then it increases and ends or caps at 5.875. And then they have all of other types of incentives. So they would have incentives for, like appliances and money down, or that would go towards like closing costs, right? Now you still, for most new construction builders to take advantage of those incentives, you have to use their lender. So, which most of the builders around here are pretty good. There's some that give me a call and we'll have a conversation about, but for the most part, you want to make sure. I recommend you always use a realtor. I used to be a sales rep, and in my early years in my career, I saw the really, really good real estate agents had also worked for new construction. And so I felt like, okay, I got to go work for new construction so I can understand that side of things. And so I would see so many crazy things on the back end, you guys, that I can't not recommend you to use a realtor, because you want to make sure that you're being represented by someone. Because although, yes, I was a sales counselor, my priority was the builder, because that's who was paying me. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's why we recommend that you use a realtor, and a realtor is going to dig to try to figure out what all those incentives are. We're going to try to negotiate all of those things. And so this is really great from the aspect that builders are seeing some of that. They're also move-in ready. And so if you're tired of competing with people or dealing with all of that, this is kind of nice, because you're usually not competing with anybody. So yeah, it just kind of goes through. And then so the Hamilton County, that's why I was saying Hamilton County was at the height. They are 212 single family building permit filings by county in year over year change. So down 35%, but it kind of shows you like Hendricks blown up at 69%. higher. Um, I think honestly, it's going to affect inventory a little bit, but good for buyers. I think if you're looking, then you strategize and kind of figure out what is the best plan and then determine what builders are going to be the best for what you're looking for. But excuse me, you guys, I have the burpees, not burpees as in like I'm working out. So yeah, I like keeping an eye on this, especially so that when clients call, I kind of have the information. So next is we are also seeing a surge in cancellation rates, which we've been seeing this. I've mentioned this on a couple of shows, a couple of live videos where what we're seeing is sellers list a home and they list it kind of high and then they lower it and then they get an offer, or they get an offer right out of the bat real fast, and then the home gets canceled and it comes back on the market. I have been in real estate for 21 years. I have to admit, this has been the most I've ever seen ever. Like, I'm shocked at how many houses go under contract within 24 hours or 48 hours and then pop back up into our system. And so this article, I kind of like pulled out the big things, but essentially nearly 1 in 7 contracts fell apart in June. That is wild. Those are record-breaking numbers. Like that 1 in 7, I will say, to kind of bring it back and to kind of think about it retrospectively. I feel like I, at this point in time, almost have to tell my buyers, don't throw those houses out. Before, it used to throw up a red flag, right? Like it would throw up a red flag that, oh gosh, something's wrong with the house. What's going on? I'm talking to more agents that there is nothing at all wrong with the house. And I've even dealt with this myself. Like, there's nothing wrong with the house. Buyers are starting to get a little bit pickier and they realize that they maybe moved too fast, or, I mean, there's so many reasons. But I would still consider. I wouldn't rule anything out just because it's been on the market longer or it went off the market and came back on. It goes into just over 5,700 pending home sales were scrapped last month, representing 14.9%, let's just call it 15% of homes that went under contract. That's up from 13.9 a year ago, as elevated home prices, economic uncertainty, and a growing supply demand imbalance shift power back to buyers. And that's what we're seeing. And I'm going to get into that when I show you kind of the data for July, because it's August. So now I get to show you data for July. So I think it's multiple of things. I think ultimately, like I said, there are probably going to be inspection issues. I do think buyers are starting to be a little bit pickier on the inspection. Before, in pandemic time, when I say that, I mean 22, 23, 21, like that range. Buyers were willing to take anything and they would be willing to take any of those inspection items. Well, that's not the case anymore. Like, buyers are looking at inspections and going, no, now we really want this fixed. And so that, with low appraisals, financial stress, I mean, ultimately it's happening. Everybody's kind of hoping for better prices and hopefully most people are also waiting for the rates to drop, which I'm hesitant on that as well. But so it kind of says they're being selective and more strategic, which I agree. Mortgage rates are causing, there to be while mortgage rates have edged down slightly. I saw edged and I was going to say something completely different. In recent months, they remain stubbornly high, and they're in the 6s. And so, yeah, it just kind of talks about, certain areas like Jacksonville, Florida. Like, again, we're not anywhere like Jacksonville, Florida. But we're seeing lots of cancellations. And so, yeah, this talks about that 15% of contracts fell through. So it kind of shows you some of the data of, this is 2017. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 was actually higher, which that kind of surprised me a little bit, than 24 and 25, which is the highest it's ever been. And I'm seeing it. Like, I get 10 to 12%. Like, yes, I see that here locally, but not 15%. It's wild. So then when we look at the data for Hamilton County and or Indianapolis. So, I always start broad with Indianapolis, and you're going to see this here. So you're going to see this is all 17 counties. The median sales price is $317, which is down. We're starting to see it go down, especially for all counties. And then the closed sales are down. Days on market is up. And like I always say, up is actually bad, even though it turns it green. Up means it's taking longer, so 18 days. List price received, we're getting back to that traditional 98%. So usually we like to see about 97 to 98. We usually get 98 to 99% on our listings. And so sometimes that's market. The market is pushing that it gets to that 98, 99. I will say if I go back years, which I can't really do that here. Well, I can actually see if I can go back to like August of 2020. Yeah, I can't go far enough back because that's 2020 is when it started to go crazy. So I can't really go back further than 2020. But if I did, what you would see is that 98% would be lower. Usually it's in the 96s. So, again, I don't ever I do look at it, but I don't pay attention to really focus on price per square foot because I don't like that this is even a thing here because price per square feet. You could have a $1 million house that's the same size next to a $200,000 house, and the square footage is going to be completely different. So I hate that. Anyways, new listings are down, but active inventory is up. And then month supply, we're inching up. So we're at 2.1. But let's go to Hamilton County because I know you guys all want to see kind of Hamilton County. And if you ever have questions about any other counties or you are a data nerd like I am, then just call me. I will go through all of the data of different counties and areas and all of that. And we will geek out together because I love doing that. Anyways. So this is Hamilton County. So there are some things that we're going to see. So just 2 weeks ago, this was the median days on market was at 10. We're now at 15. So it's edging up. Values are starting to come down. That median sale price of $460. Closed sales is down. Days on market again is longer at 15 days. We're still seeing that 99, but you can see it's coming down from last month. All of it, we're in the red for many things, which this really should be red. Active inventory is up, which I think is happening because not as many new listings are hitting. There's still the same amount of buyers, and our month supply is now at 1.6, which, last month it was 1.5. And so I'm interested to see where this ends at the end of the year, because I think we're gonna see some shifts. And so that's what's really interesting is, to see how things are kind of moving a little bit, even in Hamilton County. I don't think Hamilton County doesn't get hit near as hard as a lot of the other cities like Marion County and surrounding like counties. Hamilton County stays pretty strong. Like it does fairly well. The other thing to remember is prices aren't really dropping. So I always look at this. We just tend to have more homes that are in the average. Sorry, I'm going to take a drink real quick. I have a turtle in my throat. There's just more houses that are being sold kind of at that lower price point. And so if I really dive into this, which again, if anybody wants me to, I kind of give kind of like the high level from this. But if I dive in, I'm sure I'm going to see that there's just a lot more homes that are kind of sold at that lower price point that is causing the median sales price to go down because there aren't as many higher end homes, those $1 million homes are starting to sit. And so that's where, again, this is a variable, and I think you have to look at everything. When I have a client that's looking at a specific price point, I go very granular with that price point. So, okay, I digress. Now we're just going to show houses. This is kind of the second half of the show where I like to just show you pretty houses. I think it's fun to kind of see what there is on the market, what you can get for certain price points. I went a little wild here on this one. Here, I decided to do Noblesville as our city because I try to kind of flow through the different cities. So it's not me just doing the same cities every single week, because you guys would get so bored with that. And you can search any of these up on my board, but I'd like to at least just give you an idea of what specific price points there are. So the first one we're going to look at is $150,000. So we're looking at Noblesville. I did not think that I would see a $150,000 home in Hamilton County. I guess I knew that I would see them. I didn't expect to see one that was actually updated and clean. Typically in this price point, you're talking about a property that needs rehab, that needs work, that is not in good condition. But this cute little house on 1911 Mulberry Street is $150,000. It's got a cute little yellow door. And look at this. It's got new flooring. It's got new paint. Little kitchen. I feel like I need a wide angle picture because these pictures are not probably even doing this little house justice, because you can't really see the room. But it is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 780 square feet, built in 1957. What was really interesting, which you can't see here, but it was actually a rental property. And let me go over to my cheat sheet. They rented it out. Come on. Stop. My computer's glitching out on me. They rented it out for $1,200 a month. And so isn't she cute? You could buy it as an investment property and rent it out for $1,200. But $150,000, it's been on the market one day. It hit today. I have a feeling it's going to go really, really fast. So if you happen to be watching live and you want an investment property, but I like to be able to see that there are houses that are move-in ready, that are available for clients to be able to purchase. This is right behind At Home and Hobby Lobby on 19th Street. So you can kind of see, well, it's actually on Mulberry, but right off of 19th. So it's really close. You essentially, there's tons of jobs along here. So if you have a job along here, you could, almost essentially walk or ride your bike to any of the local grocery stores or Lowe's, Meijer, TJ Maxx, Best Buy, Hobby Lobby, At Home, Aldi's, Walmart. And this is 37. There is tons all along here. Plus, you're really close to downtown Noblesville. So I just thought it was such a cute little property for $150,000. It's crazy. I love the estimate. Of course, you know that person, they have it in here that they're putting $30,000 down. I wouldn't put $30,000 down on this house, but it's so cute. So anyways, that's the first house. I just thought it was really great. It's currently the least expensive house. There is one more that was priced at like $180,000, $190,000 that was 2,000 square feet, so much bigger, but it was a shit show. Like, it was awful. It looks like an abandoned house. So there you go. $150,000. The next house, this was an interesting one. So I didn't go traditional, like in a cookie cutter or what we like to call a vinyl village property. I wanted something that had some character and was on some land, because we're consistently getting those calls right now where people want to be a little bit further out, but want to still be close to things and have some privacy and some land. So this was one that I saw that is at 20556 Overdorf Road. It's currently listed at $599. It is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 3,142 square feet, built in 1980. But I feel like this house has so much potential. Wait, let me go back. It is also on, I think it was an acre. This is always a different view than yes. So 1 acre. Okay. So a little bit of land. It has land. It's not on a primary road. Like there aren't probably going to be a lot of people driving on this road. It's super cute with mature trees and a ginormous backyard. And if you don't like the colors, that's when you go in and you change and you paint it. But this has huge potential. This looks like actual true hardwood floors. So if you don't like the color, sand. I've got a guy. I feel like I always say that. I got a guy that can sand them down, stain them the color that you want. The fun thing about braces is all of a sudden you get some food that comes loose. I've got a loose one. Oh my God, so gross. Okay. Anyways, back to the house instead of the food in my mouth. It's got laminate countertops, but this is a bathroom. Like it's easy to fix, still move-in ready. That's what I love about this property is it's still move-in ready. But if you're that buyer that you're like, I want something that I can make it better and I can put sweat equity into it and get money out of it, this is it. Like this is really cute. It's got like a wood fireplace. You enter here and it's got the backyard. Cute little kitchen. Again, some of these walls, if you want, can be torn down to open it up into the space. Laundry room. There's a back patio, which is great. Look at that wood in that back patio. Again, wood trim. If it's your vibe, keep it. If it's not your vibe, get rid of it. There's just so much. Like, look at all this space. Like, it's a huge house. It's got a little bit probably of an awkward flow. Houses this old do. But you can change it. It's got this huge workspace. I mean, look at this. It's great. And then look at this yard, you guys. The yard is massive. Plenty of room for a pool. Of course, you're probably going to want to look to make sure that there isn't well or septic and make sure that you can put a pool in where you would want it. But this is a great, look at that. Look at all the trees. So it looks like you have a shared driveway. They paved theirs up to here, which you could pave if you don't want gravel. I wanted to show you something that you could get a property that you absolutely could put sweat equity into this and really increase the value because it's a 3,100 square foot home and it's, 3,100 and it's only $600,000. It's been on the market for 20 days. It says 22, which this might be. I didn't look, but it might be one where it went off, it like hit the market, it went fast and came back like we just talked about. That's usually sometimes what you see when you have 22 days and then 20 days. I'm surprised this isn't gone. I assume because it needs somebody that needs a little bit of sweat equity. And want to put the effort and time and money into it. It's not right for everybody. Let me show you location because I always kind of look at location. So we were talking a minute ago of 37, which that's what we were just talking about with the last listing. So it's right up 37 and you just jump off of Allisonville up and over, or you go to 206th, come over and down. So great. Honestly, I think it's in a great location because you can take 37 all the way up to Strawtown, jump over. or you can, jump over to 19 to go up. Like it's just 37 goes all the way down into Fishers that connects to 69 to go to downtown. So I think it's a really, really great location. It's kind of still a little bit out, so you get some privacy and some woods. But yet you're still pretty. I mean, this is probably to get to all those things I was just talking about, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Like it would be pretty close from a drive perspective. So that was house number 2. House number 3 is this beautiful house. So 20170 Starlight Circle is listed for $2.5 million. It is a 6-bedroom home, so she's a big one. 7 full baths, 2 half baths. So you're going to need somebody to clean your bathrooms because that's a lot of freaking bathrooms. 12,000 square feet. Like I said, she's a big one. She's a beaut. That's what I always want to say when I start saying that. Built in 2006. It's been on the market for 60 days. So that's what we're seeing with some of these bigger homes in these higher price points. They're sitting a little bit longer. But this house is beautiful. I love the difference of like brick to stone. And the colors, it's like a true, like beautiful red brick versus an orange brick. And then you've got the brick walkway up to the front door, portico on the side. You've got this nice water feature, in the front. They're very happy about the water feature because they're going to show you like 8 pictures. Great presence walking up, right? And then when you walk in, you have this beautiful 2-story entry with a beautiful staircase. That chandelier was gorgeous. Did you see that? Look at it. It's like water droplets. That's really cool. And a curved bookshelf. That looks like a curved bookshelf. You don't see those every day. Great 2-story, great room. Again, I love descriptions at the bottom. If you are a homeowner and you're selling your house, ask for descriptions on your pictures because then you can kind of know exactly what it is. And it's a great way to put the extra bonuses. Like if it's got new windows or if it's got special features, that's a spot that it's really great to add those because the more content you can get or the more details or connect with the buyer, because every buyer is a little bit different. One might love something and another might like something else. And so it's really nice to be able to have that. But look how big this room is. It has room for 2 ginormous coffee tables. Kind of reminds me of my uncle's house that had windows like this. Okay, secret room. Look at that bookshelf. I'm a sucker for a good bookshelf. This is what's so funny. I love bookshelves so much so that I don't even put books on my bookshelves because I like to read on my Kindle or listen to audiobooks. Really weird. But I love books, especially. I'm a texture person. So I love books. If I get a book, I scan it and I then get it on my Kindle. I know, but I love a good bookshelf. And they clearly have a lot of them. Beautiful office, kitchen. It looks like, so this was built, let me go back. This was built in 2006. Let me zoom through those real quick. 2006, so then the question is, what have they done to it? Because was it a white kitchen? Did it have kind of these features? I have a feeling it probably did. That flooring definitely is a 2006 floor. Hey, good luck. Our son is going to try out for the Fishers soccer team and he leaves here. It's the second day of tryouts. So we're hoping he makes the team. Stainless steel appliances, kind of a double island, which that's kind of nice. And I love that there's the hooks here so you can set this here, but it's not on the main island. It's one of the beefs that I don't like with our island. A butler's pantry or a scullery, large dining room. Looks like hardwood floors in there. A neutral color or tone. I can't tell if they're as yellow or as red. It just depends once you get in there. Pictures sometimes don't do a house justice with some of those things. And so that's why sometimes when a client will send me a house and they're like, I'm not really sure. I'm like, let's just go look at it. Because you just never know. It's shocking to me how many houses I see online and then I walk inside and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. Or vice versa. You can check it off of like, no, we don't like this house. I'm all about removing houses from kind of a want list, right? Like, because then you don't keep going back to it. A primary bedroom, which is nice. Fireplace, a see-through fireplace. Yep, that goes through both sides with beautiful, beautiful tub. Large walk-in shower. I am glad that they did that picture because, like, looking here, it's like, is there enough room to walk there? But then when you go to this, you can tell that there's room to walk, which is great because you just never know sometimes. Beautiful walk-in closet. And then this is the upstairs kind of loft. I'm guessing on some of these because I don't have descriptions, but bedrooms, basement, now with a kitchen. Is that the basement? Yeah, that looks like the basement because that looks like an egress window. Just sometimes it's hard to tell. And so you just don't always know. That's a really interesting mural. They must love Europe to have Paris. Movie theater, sauna, workout gym. So what I loved about this is there's a lot that, again, you don't have to do anything. It's a clean slate. It's white. But if some of the finishes you don't like, you could go in and change it. And then the outdoor space is amazing. This back patio is stunning, right? Because you've got all of this space to entertain and hang out. Beautiful fireplace, full kitchen, right? Because it looks like probably either trash, beverage, ice maker, beverage fridge, green egg, gas grill. That looks like a griddle. Like, that's a fabulous kitchen space. Right off of and then the pool, which is great, has the slide, the basketball. You've got a whole, this probably is for the dogs because I'm assuming this is where you let the dogs out. They go potty, but then it localizes all the poop and stuff into one space. Nice pool with a tiled patio and an automatic cover playset. This yard is huge. Like, look at that. So that's the kind of the space, but it's still in a neighborhood. So I'll show you that here in a second because I like this little, it's not like a jam-packed neighborhood. You have a lot of space. We're back to the beginning. So let me go down to location so I can show you location. And I'll put it back to that 37. So 37 is here. So this one's further out. It's on your way to kind of that Westfield. It's a little bit closer to Morris, which is really great. But it's just this one little, well, not like street, but this little neighborhood. Let me do hybrid so you can kind of see. So there's not that many houses, which is really great. You kind of get a little bit more. This was the original section and then they built on. But I love it because you're still kind of, you're out. But yet it's kind of a close-knit little community, right? Like, there's not a ton of houses. Let me go back up to the deets again. 1,200 square feet, beautifully landscaped. I do agree with that. I think that they did a great job. 11-person hot tub. I don't remember specifically seeing that. That's a huge hot tub. But it's just a great little, I said a great little, it's a great, huge, ginormous house. Anyways, so that kind of gives you an idea of what you can get for 150,000 all the way up to 2.5 million. The 2.5, it wasn't the most expensive one, but we showed the most expensive one the last time I showed Noblesville. So I didn't want to show you the same exact house again. But it gives you a good gauge, and you have, if if you want to move in and you don't have a whole lot of money, but you want to be in Noblesville School District, that's the first one. If you want to put a little bit of sweat equity into a house, which I believe does have the potential to be able to kind of handle those bigger upgrades, that 100 to 200,000, where you'll get your return on your money back. Because again, it's a big house and it's pretty dated. So you can really bring and zhuzh that baby up. And then you have the 2.5, where honestly, in that price point, if you're doing remodeling or you're changing aspects of the house, most of the time, most of my clients in this price point aren't as concerned about not specifically getting their whole return on the money, because it depends on, there's so many things that affect a house like this that are going to determine if you are being able to essentially have that as a property, as a return. I can't even talk right now. So anyways, that's it. I just rambled at the back end. So hopefully if you watched all the way until the end, I'm sorry for my rambling. But that's a wrap for this week's Camco Roundabout. Of course, as always, thanks for hanging out with me. If you had fun, if maybe you learned something new, or you just love staying in the loop, don't forget to like this video and or subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because I ramble. No, I'm just kidding. I try to give you really great information, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with more Hamilton County happenings. Of course, until then, stay curious. I'm going to try something new. Stay curious, stay local, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Try to be more fun.